is Paul with LSP Data, and today I wanted to walk you through an example of how we're leveraging some local LLMs or large language models to process documents that may look like this, right? So I'm sure you'll find yourself finding this type of records, especially when it comes to deed of trust, right? You may come across a document and either you have a virtual assistant that you're paying, or maybe you're going through those every Monday and sort of noting what's relevant to you, right? So here's a quick example. I'm redacting some of the information, but for example, if you wanted to turn this into this, right, and pull information that's relevant, such as grantor, grantee, the initial loan, the interest rate, and maturity date, right? Because that typically gives you the equity on that property, right? So how do we do this? Well, we've come across that challenge in the past as well. And again, just like you, virtual assistants or a lot of manual process, right? So over time, we develop better methods. And I just wanted to give you an example if you want to test, right? And it requires you to build a script that's able to extract, PDF to an image file and then process it using OCR, right? In this case, you can use Tesseract OCR. I'm sure there's tons of YouTube videos that can show you how to install Tesseract, right? But just for the sake of time, my use case is that I'm processing hundreds, if not thousands, of this type of documents, right? You're probably going through a handful yourself every time there's a foreclosure process and whatnot, right? So I want to make sure that I just, get information that's relevant and be able to provide, our customers with this type of information. So let's say, you come across something that like this, right? Obviously, we want to make sure that we're looking at the specific deed of trust, right? I'm not going to show this quite a bit. So for now, let's jump straight to the actual script, right? So here, let's say we're looking at that specific PDF. We got a hold of it, right? The script, what this script does is typically, at least for most of the use cases, usually the information that's relevant is in the first 2 pages. So I'm sure you've seen documents that are probably 10, 20 pages long, right? But the point of this is just to extract the information that's relevant. So for us, again, you'll get to use different OCR tools. Tesseract, like the one I mentioned, is pretty good. But for us, the challenge was that even if you're very techy, you may solve this problem by creating a Python script that does a lot of regex, right? Maybe you're pulling numbers like money, maybe you're pulling addresses, etc., right? But I realized that over time that got a little bit more complex, and obviously there is a lot of complexity when it comes to documents because they're not all the same, right? So for me, I ended up finding that DeepSeek here. So as we're using the DeepSeek model, right? And DeepSeek is basically an open source LLM, right? It's freely available. But now, if you're in a Windows environment, you can download something called Ollama, and this is going to allow you to run that model locally into your Windows machine, right? And again, search for a YouTube video about installing Ollama and DeepSeek. I'm 100% sure that there's videos out there that will help you out, right? But for my use case, all we're doing is we're first extracting the document through the OCR, right? And then that document essentially becomes a text file. So this is what the text file looks like. As you can see, it has all the information that's relevant, right? I think this is the most important aspect of all of this, is to have the OCR extract the document very accurately. Otherwise, the model still does great, but obviously the better information you feed it, the more clear it's gonna give you good responses. So in this instance, just like you're probably used to using ChatGPT or something else, right? Here I'm giving it a prompt. So I'm prompting it to extract deed of, this specifying that this is a deed of trust document, right? And I want to make sure that, saying that the borrower can show up as a grantor, borrower, mortgager, undersigner, etc. We have the loan amount. And at the end, I want to make sure that we return with a JSON format, right? And if you don't know what a JSON format is, it's basically a nested sort of response that looks like this. So it just makes it easier for reading purposes, right? So don't worry about that too much. But in general, setting the model to 2, the lower this is, the more accurate the LLM is going to be. So it's not going to quote unquote hallucinate, or it's not going to make up information that's not within the text document, right? And then from here, again, we're parsing the information that's returned and ultimately to give us the results that we're interested in, right? So the beauty of this is that the model does a little bit of reasoning, right? So I'm having it process the document. It'll say that, okay, we found this information that's relevant, right? And basically, this is the response that we get. And for us, this made it very, very easy to accurately pull information that's relevant to us. Because as you know, every county, depending on where in the US you are, right? The primary challenge is extracting the text because some of the documents are very faint, etc., right? So the first challenge was to find a good solution that allows you to extract the text in a very accurately manner, right? Because there is a lot of Python libraries and other things, but they're not consistent in my opinion. So just make sure that you find a pretty easy way to do this. So I would say, we'll leave it at that. If you're interested, I can add the script, but I just wanted to show you some of the examples of the technologies that we're using for basically our offering, right? So from a time perspective for you, how does this help you? Well, it allows you to pull information, and obviously, obviously here's the pitch of our service. You can go into your local county and be able to pull meaningful information, obviously, right? And it'll save you time. As many of you know, you probably spend a good amount of time in going through those foreclosure lists that I just showed you, right? So what if you could automate a lot of that, right? Information. I mean, it would be very, very easy, right? So I'll show you a quick example of what I'm referring to. So if you can go to Denton, right? It's a good use case here. I think if you go to Denton, you can go to foreclosures, pull up foreclosures. You're gonna end up needing to click the actual link, right? And say if you want to find the most common up-to-date ones, you have to click here, go through this document, right? Get someone to read it for you if you have a VA, etc., right? Or you can just sign up with us, right? Here, you can easily pull in a very quick manner, right? So we just sorted by here. We should see the latest ones, right? And you have all the information that you need, and you can easily export it to CSV or Excel, and basically ready to market or skip trace it, whatever it is that you do. So pretty easy to do that, but I wanted to give you a little bit of sort of the tech stack, some of the technologies that we're implementing ourselves, just to make our life easier, because there's a lot of use cases for extracting OCR, right? And again, just to remind you, you can always sign up for a free trial. We're also expanding in Florida as well. So if you're doing marketing in Florida, Duval County, Brevard, Pinellas are currently active. So, and obviously we have a lot more offerings in Texas, right? So if you're looking to get pre-foreclosures, not even foreclosures. I'm talking about pre-foreclosures. I have a lot of videos in the past that I made, but basically our platform allows you to find pre-foreclosures, or even before they go to the foreclosure or auction period, right? So anyways, if you're interested, contact us. Sign up for a free trial by entering LSP data at the end at checkout, or let's jump on a demo call, and that way we can educate you a little bit about the platform and how it can help you, maybe give you some use cases, right? And if you are a technology enthusiast, or if you're building your own tools, we also have a consulting option here, right? It is a paid consulting, but obviously, hard times are valuable, so just leaving it at that. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you found a lot of value. And obviously, if you're not following, or if this is the first time you come across our videos, please give us a like and a follow, and we'll greatly appreciate that. Thank you.